So it's here, folks. It's finally bloody here. It's the 2023 Asian Cup. Which nation over in Asia is going to come out on top? We're going to take a look. Brand new look at match number 1, part 1. And it's coming at you next. Today we're taking a look at the Asian Cup, coming at you in a two-parter. Today it is part 1, taking a look at the matches that are involved in match number 1 from Group A through to Group C. We'll get into all of that in a second. Of course, if you're new where you've been, smash the old subscribe button, bang. It's all things Asian Cup related, Blackburn Rovers related, world football related. We're going to all hear boys under one Ruski. That's right, of course, some heavyweights over in Asia want to become kings of the castle. We're going to take a look at some of the good ones in the first 3 groups, and we'll get to that in a second. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They are the patrons. You know who you are. But, of course, if you are new, make sure you bang that subscribe. A whopping 78% of you are unsubscribed, guys. So let's, of course, get those numbers down a little bit as we look forward to match day number 1, part 1 tomorrow, or later on in the week. There'll be match number 1, part 2 for the countries taking part in Group D all the way through to Group F. So here we go then, taking a look at what we're talking about. Alrighty then, folks, of course, before we jump in the deep end, let's take a little look at what we're talking about. We are talking about, of course, Groups A through C. But before all that, we're going to recap of the nations that actually qualified for this tournament out in Qatar. That's right, of course, they did host the World Cup. They are now hosting the Asian Cup. So here they are in all their glory. Let's start with, of course, Group A. That's right, we got Qatar, we have China, we have Tajikistan, and we do have Lebanon, of course. Into Group B, Australia, Uzbekistan, Syria and India. Into Group C, it's Iran, United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong and Palestine. Of course, into Group D, not necessarily on the focus today, but it's Japan, Indonesia, Iraq and Vietnam. Group E sees South Korea, Malaysia, Jordan and Bahrain. And then wrapping up Group F, it's Saudi Arabia, it's Thailand, and of course it is Tajikistan and Oman. Of course, I might have butchered a couple of those names, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to get familiar with these guys over the course of the next month or so. But of course, those are all the nations that are taking part, again, spread over a couple of videos here. These are, of course, the groups that we're focusing on today, Groups A, B and C. And of course, just in case you want to know what the other groups look like, there they are for you. That's Group D, E and F. But the games for match number 1 are coming at you in just 1 second. We are going to have a prediction league for this, so make sure you take note of this link, /AFC 2023, and I'll get your picks in nice and early. I know it says part 2 up there. Ignore all that because we are going right back to part 1, starting with these games right here, right now. We're going to start with the first one. It is going to be hosts Qatar up against Lebanon. That's actually kicking us all off on Friday, January the 12th. So let's get into this one and get a little bit excited. At the Lusail Stadium, we know these names for the World Cup. Now, these two sides have played each other 5 times since, of course, 2012. We've got 4 wins for Qatar, nothing for Lebanon, and there's been 1 draw between them. The biggest win for Qatar was a 5-0 win. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They actually scored 10 goals in total against Lebanon, averaging around about 2 goals a game when played. Meanwhile, Lebanon, no wins, just the 1 goal scored in those 5 games, 0.20 goals a game on average. But they come into this on 32% form, Lebanon. Of course, pretty ropey form right now. That's, of course, over the last 6 games, and that's most likely friendlies, but we'll take a closer examination of that in a second. Qatar, though, 58% form for them, just 1 defeat past 4, and of course, they have played each other, like I said, the 5 times. The last time they played each other was a 2-0 win for Qatar back in the AFC Asian Cup way back in 2019. It was a 2-0 win. That 5-0 win was back in October 2014. Qatar on the back of a 3-0 win over India, most recently for the World Cup qualifying early days stages over in Asia, and Lebanon with that 1-0 loss to Saudi Arabia in a bit of a friendly. Now, the odds here, we have 4-1 on for your host, that's Qatar. 9-2 is the draw, and 10-1 is your long shots. I am backing the host here to get off to a fantastic start. They should win this game. We're going to go with a 2-0 win for Qatar on that one. Kicking off forward then, the next game, it is Australia. It's India. It's coming at you on Saturday, January the 13th. Again, over in Qatar, Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. Played just the 1 time in recent records. That stretched it all the way up to 2011, and Australia did win that, and they won it 4-0. They're coming into this on 58% form at the moment over the last 6 games. Australia winning 3 on the the bounce up against India. Just 1 win in 5, 33% form for them over the last 6 as well. That 4-0 win was way back when, in 2011, 4-0 win it was in the Asian Cup, Group C. Australia, of course, flexing the muscles as well. They did pick up a 1-0 win against Palestine most recently, Australia, in the World Cup qualifying campaign back in, whenever that was, back in November 2023. Of course, India with a 3-0 loss against Qatar. However, wins against Kuwait. And what else have we got here? Wins against Kuwait most recently. Give them a little bit of confidence heading into this game, but I do expect them to be a bit of a whipping boy, despite recent, investment into the game. I do think they'll struggle here, though. 25-1 on Australia are red hot favourites on this to win this one. 40-1 is the tie. 40-1. That's a big long shots for India. Going to go with Australia. Comfortably done here. 3-0 win on matchday number 1, part 1. Kicking off forward, though, it is China. It is up against Tajikistan. Of course, this is over in Group A. Now, they have played each other just the one time to 2019, and it was a win for China. We'll elaborate on that shortly. China, though, 33% form for them right now. 2 wins of the last 6 in all competitions at all venues. Up against Tajikistan, though, who are on form. And, of course, the odds will be very, very interesting to look at here. Unbeaten the last 5, winning 4, of course, and drawing 1. That 1-0 win for China was way back in June 2019. It was a friendly, it looks like. China on the back of a 2-0 loss to Oman. That was, of course, on the back end of the calendar year against in a friendly. Meanwhile, Tajikistan with a 2-1 win over Hong Kong, which was a friendly earlier in the month, of course. So Tajikistan could be a little bit of an outside package here, of course, with but formerly of the USSR, stretching way back a bit in the history books. So a bit of a European spice about these guys. So they could be a team. What the dark horses? Of course, everyone's pointing the fingers at South Korea, Iran, and maybe even Japan to go the distance. But Tajikistan could cause some problems. The odds here, 6-5, though China look like their favourites. 14-5 is your Tajikistan. 50-8 is the draw. And I think I'm going to sit on the fence with this one. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, as I don't really know too much about this Tajikistan. I think they're going to be a problem for this group, Group A. And, of course, we hope to see them later on in the tournament into the last 16. Kicking on forward, though, we have another one of those teams that have got a little bit of Europeanness about them, which could mean a bit of a problem. And that's Uzbekistan. They're taking on Syria. Of course, I've actually been in Uzbekistan, so they got a little bit of soft spot for me. But they're going to come at you on the Saturday, January the 13th. Played each other 5 times, these two sides, since 2016. 2 wins apiece and just 1 draw. Uzbekistan with a 2-0 win was their biggest, scoring 4 goals in those 5 games, 0.80 goals a game on average. Syria, though, just a 1-0 win, their biggest, 3 goals scored in those 5 games, 0.60 goals a game on average. Syria, though, 42% form for them at the moment, winning twice at the last 6. Up against Uzbekistan side, who are unbeaten in the last 6, winning 4 of the last 6 games, 83% form for them as well. However, the last time that these two sides played each other was a 1-0 win for Syria. That was back in November 2020. Syria on the back of a 5-0 drubbing by Japan in the World Cup qualifying campaign back at the end of November. Meanwhile, Uzbekistan with a big 4-1 win over Tajikistan as well. And they also picked up a cheeky 2-2 draw against Iran in recent World Cup qualifying matches. Though the odds there for this one, 15-8 on is your Uzbekistan. They are red hot favourites for this one. 3-1 is your draw. 5-1 is your long shots, of course, which is Syria on this one. Again, I've gone tight on this one. Going to go with Uzbekistan, 2-1 win. But it could be a bit of a drubbing by the looks of things so far on this one. Into the final 2 now. We've got Team Melli. That's right. They're coming at you on Sunday, January the 14th. Now up against Palestine. That's right. Of course, at the Education City Stadium. Now, they've never played each other, these two sides, according to my eyes, in recent records. Anyway, Team Melli. Team Melli, is that right? Yeah, Team Melli. 92% form for them right now. Of course, winning 5 of the last 6. Red hot to trot. Up against the Palestine side, winless in the last 6 games. 17% form for them heading into this. Of course, Palestine fresh off the back of a 1-0 loss against Australia back end of November. Haven't scored a goal in the... They have not scored a goal in the last 3 games. Goodness gracious me. Up against the Iran side, on the back of that 2-2 draw against Uzbekistan, picking up big wins against Hong Kong and Qatar and Jordan to boot. So looking good, scoring goals, and could be a major threat in this tournament, I would imagine. The odds, though, for this one, we have Iran 92 on for the victory here. Red hot favourite, 6-1 is the draw, and 70-2 is your Palestine here. Going to go with a comfortable win for Iran here to put a bit of a benchmark here. 4-0 win for them, and job done. 3 points in the bag. And then wrapping up in, of course, our final one here. It is United Arab Emirates up against Hong Kong. That's, of course, also taking place on Sunday, January the 14th. This is over in Group C. Now, these two sides have played each other 3 times since 2010. We've got 2 wins out of 3 for UAE, nothing for Hong Kong. There has been a draw. UAE, though, biggest win was a 4-0 win. They got 9 goals in those 3 games, 3 goals a game on average, against Hong Kong, who have just got the 1 goal against their opposition in this match, 0.33 goals a game as well. Hong Kong, though, without a win in 42% form for them at the moment, up against the UAE side. 6 wins on the bounce, and again, that kind of form is scary stuff. Khalifa International Stadium will be the venue. Of course, last time around, it was that 4-0 win. It's actually been back-to-back 4-0 wins for UAE. Haven't conceded a goal against these their opponents in recent games. Of course, UAE with a 1-0 win over Tajikistan. Again, 3 clean sheets on the bounce, 5 wins, 6 wins on the bounce. Good results as well against Costa Rica, Lebanon, Bahrain, and Tajikistan. Up against Hong Kong, who did lose squeaky bum time against Tajikistan, a 2-1 loss, and also picked up a draw against Hong Kong, Turkmenistan. The odds there for this one, then we got Iran. What we're looking at, sorry, we've got UAE 92 on for the victory, 11-2 is the draw, 10-1 is your Hong Kong. They are, of course, overwhelmingly underdogs, big time. So I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for the hosts here, or of course the home team, UAE with a W, to make sure of the 3 points. Now, of course, in these picks, I'm going to give you my banker and, of course, my major upset for the round. So my banker for this one is going to be Iran up against Palestine, and nailed on. That's going to be a home win. So if you are going to have a little cheeky little bet on that one should come in pretty easy peasy. My little outside bet, though, is, of course, this one here is China against Tajikistan. I don't really know. I think when you look at the bookies odds, China are favoured here quite heavily with the bookies, but I'm going to go with a draw here, a point apiece. And that, my friends, is my picks for, of course, match number 1, part 1. Don't forget to join me in for match number 1, part 2, as we look at the groups from D to F. But don't forget, Prediction League is wide open as well. Get your names in there, get your picks in, of course, and don't forget to leave some comments down below what you think will happen in this year's Asia Cup. That's right. Make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell. Your non-stop shop for Asian Cup continues, guys. We're here all the way to the better end. But until then, we're done.